Focus RS that we got. This is a really good car. We're going to be going over if you're new here, because I haven't been doing this in a while. If you're new here, we're going to be going over the videos first, just to show you guys what the car is like, and then we're going to go over the features, options, and problems with the vehicle. And then finally, to round it off, we're going to be going over the ads. So I'm going to be pricing out cars I see online. I'm going to show you guys what to look for in terms of options and whatnot. So So here we can see the Ford Focus RS in nitrous blue. This is the most famous color the car came in. As you can also see the interior. It comes with Recaro seats. You can either get them manual or in heated options as well. We'll go over all the options in a second. It is a Ford. Not a big fan of the Ford interior. That's just my
This is VZ Music.
Not sure if this music. Looks alright, I guess. Let's see, 6-speed manual. They only come in manual. If you can't drive manual, this is not a car for you. Sounds though. I know you guys want to hear what this car sounds like, so let me pause this music real quick because got the ads open already. Anyway, let's hear what this car sounds like. Fair use, fair use. You guys want to copyright me. Shout out to the 3 viewers in here already. It's been a while, I know. Let's hear what it sounds like on normal with the valves open before start. Fair use, fair use. Shout out to Moderate TV. Some other differences between the RS and the ST is obviously the body kit has a bunch of different front end as well as tips in the rear with the big spoiler. See it here. It sounds like I'm a big fan, however, because this is all-wheel drive, technically, it's not a real all-wheel drive system, but because it is all-wheel drive, a feature here on the channel. I do some front-wheel drive cars, but I'm not really a fan of it. So lots of pops and bangs. Fair use. Let's see what it looks like and sounds like on the dyno. See what type of. I'm sure this is stock. All right, so we can see at the wheel, it's making about right around 330 torque. Maybe around 315, but that's at the wheel, so it's probably making close to maybe 375 crank. stock, this car makes around 350 horsepower and 350 pound-feet of torque. See what it looks like on one more video. If you're not familiar, this car does have drift mode because it is an all-wheel drive vehicle. We'll get into the exact specifications of the all-wheel drive system in a minute. But here's an example of drifting. So it is possible. All-wheel drive drill, donuts, but you can do some fun stuff with this car. So without further ado, let's get into the show. What is going on, y'all? All Warren Cars back again with another car buyer's guide. As you can see, as you already just saw, we're going over the Ford Focus RS. This is going to be the Mark III version. Mark 1 and Mark 2 were not available in the United States. However, the Mark III was, as it was the first conglomerated product of the combination of the United States SVT division, Europe's RS division, and Australia's FPV, Ford Performance Vehicle, company. So basically, before then, they were all three separate companies, and they came together to make one global company, and this was their global car, as you know, we see it in the United States, as it wasn't available beforehand. Came in a bunch of colors. I'm lying, it came in 5 colors. It came in this stealth gray, came in nitrous blue, this white. It also came in a red color and a black. Let's see if we can see one. Yeah, I guess that's it. It's a wide body kit. But without further ado, again, let's get into the features, options, and problems, as I always do on this show. If you're not familiar, I first go over the videos, then I go through the features, options, and problems, and then after that, I will go through some ads, and we're going to price them out. We're going to see what mods come on the car, because again, this is a hot hatch, so you're going to find a lot of them that have been modded, and I'm going to show you like how you should price out the car depending on what the mods are and the condition of the car. So starting off, model years 2016 and 2018 were the only model years for this vehicle, which is kind of a shame. It's the last RS car made by Ford, and I don't know if they're ever going to make an RS car again. It's kind of weird. They came together to make the car, but then they didn't want to make any more. I'm not really too sure what happened. I'm guessing, you know, the pandemic put a slouch on the production, and with things going to EV and other ways of propulsion, I guess you could say, not really sure if this is in the cards for them anymore. However, if this came out today, it would be a really good seller in my opinion, because people love the analog feeling of older cars when compared to the vehicles we get today. So as I mentioned before, it's a product of SVT, RS, and Australian FPV. This is a Ford, which means it's an American car. However, it was developed in Europe and produced in Germany, which is really interesting. This is the only Focus to be produced in Germany. Obviously, the rest are going to be produced in America. They're Fords. Actually, don't quote me on that. I don't know if that's true, but I'm assuming it's true. Anyway, lots of production went into this, or development went into this vehicle. For example, Gymkhana's Ken Block, RIP, was involved in the project. He was a consultant because, as you guys know, he's really good at drifting, or was, RIP. Again, third generation of the RS. First generation that was sold in America. It featured a 2.3-liter Valencia EcoBoost 4-cylinder turbo engine, similar to that in the Mustang, but not exactly the same. It has the same bottom end. However, the top end was actually tuned by Cosworth, which is interesting. It plays into Ford's history with working with Cosworth, and you know, that's pretty cool. They worked the heads a little bit to get a little bit more power. The Mustang, I believe the newest one, the S560, makes 350 horsepower, which is the same as this, but that was almost 5 years later. This made 350 horsepower in 2016, 350 horsepower and 350 pound-feet of torque. So this car moves. Like, you don't really need too much power in day-to-day use, and this car is one of those cars where you can use the power, all of the power. Instead of, you know, you could have 500, 600, 700 horsepower, but you barely ever use it. 0 to 60 in 4.7 seconds. On paper, sounds not that fast. However, in practice, 4.7 seconds is not slow. Again, only a 6-speed manual was available for this vehicle. If you can't drive manual, this is not the car for you. Hold on, let me see if I can hear myself. Because I don't. There we go. Okay, cool. All right, bet. I just had to make sure. I haven't streamed in a while, y'all. I'm a little bit rusty. Anyway. Torque vectoring all-wheel drive system with rear drive unit by GKN, with up to 70% of the torque being able to be sent to the rear wheels. This is a front this is a front wheel drive system with an extra bit added to it. So it's going to be a mostly front wheel drive setup in terms of your regular driving around town. However, it can send up to 70% of the torque to the rear wheels, but this is not the same as an all wheel drive system that you'd find in a Subaru. So it's not technically all-wheel drive. However, it is close enough, and you are able to do drifts in drift mode if you really want to. We'll get more into that in a second. Actually, I'll skip down here real quick. For the 2018 model years, it was available. Actually, not available. It came standard with a Quaife LSD, so that added a little bit more performance to the vehicle. You could drive it a little bit harder in the turns, meaning that you could like power out of turns a little bit faster. But yeah, that's one of the main differences between the last model years, but we'll get to that in a second. It comes with launch control, upgraded suspension, and Brembo brakes. So this is pretty well equipped from the factory. And again, as I mentioned before, sharper steering. It has 4 drive modes, including a drift mode. 2016, the first model year. If we're going to get into it, I would not recommend getting a 2016. However, they're going to be the cheapest ones. So if you're on a budget, 2016 is still a good car. 2017, they updated the seating position on later models. So if you got ones that are made like after, I don't want to exactly quote it, but it's like later in the year, October, you will have a lower seating position. One of the biggest issues that people had with this car was the seating position. You couldn't get low enough basically. And it felt like you were sitting on top of the car rather than in the car. Let's see. And then 2018, as I mentioned before, last model year, only 1,000 units were available for the United States. So if you can find a 2018 for a good price, that is going to be the one to get in terms of keeping its value and also having the upgraded limited slip differential. UK was blessed with heritage editions with 375 horsepower for the last model year, and they were in deep orange, which was not a color available here in the United States. Another thing, Ford messed up the delivery process on this car. So, I mean, it doesn't really matter now, but it's just interesting because Ford always messes up delivery products or delivery processes with their vehicles. They did it with the Bronco. Any car that's highly anticipated, Ford just folds under the pressure for some reason. So, yeah, you had people that ordered their cars early and got them late, had people that ordered their cars late, got them early. I mentioned this before, but the seats are okay. They're really good in terms of bolstering. However, the seating position, especially if you're a little bit taller or have a longer torso, is going to be a little bit tight in terms of just the distance from your head to the roof. Hey, shout out to Owen Clark in the chat. What is going on, man? Shout out to you, man. I know it's been a while. I'm going to try to, well, not try. I'm going to be posting on a more regular schedule now. Kind of got into the big move that I had earlier this year and kind of settled in now, so I have more time. So yeah, I'm going to be doing this a lot more frequently. Yeah, earlier on, or better on early models. I meant better on later models. So don't quote me on that. Change this to later. Better on later models. They actually lowered the seat height by 15 millimeters in the later model years of 2017 as well as the 2018 models. However, 15 millimeters is like not even an inch, not even 2 inches. So it's not that much of a difference. However, it is a little bit of a difference. They tried, and in general, it has a tight interior. This is a Focus. It's not a big car, and I say that because like just when you get in one, it's not the most comfortable car. It's good if you're like a smaller person. I'm not, so my knees and like my shins were like resting up against the glove compartment area, and I was riding in it. It's a little bit more roomier on the driver's side, but yeah, tight interior. In terms of options, let's actually look at a brochure so we can get a good sense of the options. I like to look at the car brochures so we can hear it straight from the factory what this car comes with. As you can see, there's not much going on here in terms of options for the RS. Most of the stuff is going to be standard. However, actually, we'll list out some of the standard stuff as I mentioned before. Well, actually, the stuff that I didn't mention before. Hill Start Assist. We mentioned that. Recaro seats. You guys know that this is a Ford Focus RS after all. That's one of the things is the RS Recaro seats. Yeah, I mean, we kind of covered all this in terms of the body kit and everything. Anyway, available options and packages. There weren't too many options and packages. Well, there's one package. If you don't get one package, you have the other package. These are going to be your wheels. You have the 18-inch RS Sparkle wheels, which are going to be the ones that come on the winter and winter tire and wheel package. Then you have the premium painted aluminum, and then you have the premium painted forged aluminum. Forged aluminum wheels are going to be my favorite in terms of design. Most of them are going to have the 19-inch premium painted aluminum. If you see them with silver wheels, they just have the smaller wheels. It's all up to you. The car rides really rough, so I'm not going to lie, the 18-inch wheels with a thicker tire, in terms of a thicker sidewall, is probably going to be a more comfortable ride. But again, it all depends on what you want. And yeah. So, as I mentioned, the wheels are an option. The power moonroof is an option. You can either get a power moonroof or not. Full RS full vehicle cover by Covercraft, which is funny that they put this on here. You can get a vehicle cover if you want. Hey, shout out to Crackalope in the chat. What is going on, man? It's been a minute. And then this is going to be your biggest package right here. The RS2 package is what people look out for with these cars. Basically comes with power seats, power car seats. The seats look 95% the same, 99% the same. I'll show you the differences between the RS1 seats and the RS2 seats when we get into the ads in a second. Again, they're power, they're heated. You also get a heated steering wheel, and you also get navigation. And Sirius XM for people that still use Sirius XM. And then you can get the RS winter tire and wheel package, which comes with the 18-inch wheels. Not really much else to say. You can see here, this is the ST. Comes with that center exhaust, and the RS comes with the dual regular looking exhaust, I guess. And again, it's all-wheel drive, quote unquote, all-wheel drive. Colors, you can get frozen white. Yep, frozen white. You can get race red, nitrous blue. Is it shadow black? Yeah, it is shadow black and stealth gray. So these are going to be your only options. Interior only comes in one color. It's going to be the blue or the black interior, mostly with the blue accents. But you can see the rest of this lineup. It shows all the focuses you can get. This is your standard focus. So again, this is a standard car with a lot of stuff added to it. So don't expect too much in terms of just kind of like the interior quality. It's a really well-built car. Again, this car was built separately from the rest of the Ford Focuses. It was made in Germany, so it's going to have a little bit higher build quality. However, just keep that in mind. When you buy one of these, it's more about the driving experience and the speed you can carry through turns more than the build quality. This car's main competitor, I could say, is probably the Golf R. It has the same type of front-wheel biased all-wheel drive system, except it uses a Haldex unit. And that is much nicer in terms of interior quality if you want to go that route. However, it doesn't have as much power. It's not as fast, and it's not as fun to drive. It comes with a DSG as well. I'm not sure if United States got the the manual Golf Rs. Someone has to correct me on that, because I haven't really seen too many manual Golf Rs except in videos. None really for sale. So yeah, this dual clutch. German, I guess they're both German, but a more sophisticated interior. If you want to go with that, get the Golf R. But if you want a more fun, rowdy car that has a manual, get the Focus RS. Cool. Let's look at the all-wheel drive system. I just want to show you guys just basically when I'm talking about these pieces, what I'm talking about. Sorry, my cat's making noise. Chill out, man. All right. Yep. So here we can see this is the power transfer unit, basically the front differential. So when I say power transfer unit, it's right here next to the transmission. Then you have the shaft going back to the rear drive unit, which is basically the rear differential, except they call it a rear drive unit because it has clutch packs on either side to engage either the right wheel or the left wheel in terms of the rear. And this is what the torque vectoring system is. On, say, a Golf R, it uses brake-based torque vectoring, meaning that they brake the inner wheel, which means it sends more torque to the outer wheel through the differential, and it kind of works. It works in practice, but it's not the best way to go about it. With a clutch-based system, you can actually control the amount of power that goes to each wheel by literally telling a computer telling it send more power to this wheel rather than send less power to one wheel, making the other wheel get more. Does that make sense? But yep, all-wheel drive, quote-unquote. All-wheel drive system. Cool. All right, let's get into let's go back to the paint. Let's get back to the problem. So you guys, if you're familiar with the Ford Focus RS, for the early models and midway through the 17, so 16 and 17, they had the head gasket failure. This affected cars specifically by VIN. because this car has an engine that was a 2.3 EcoBoost that was shared in a lot of vehicles. However, this has a different head. As I mentioned, it was tuned by Cosworth, so it has slightly different cooling channels. For some reason at Ford, they put on the standard gasket on some of the vehicles, and basically the holes in the gasket don't line up exactly, sending coolant where it shouldn't or blocking the coolant, one or the other, and they can overheat. So make sure that your car has had that recall if it applies to that car. Again, it's VIN specific, so you're gonna have to look it up based on the VIN of the vehicle you're looking at. Some of the things, again, it is a Ford. The materials aren't the best, even though it was built separately from the rest of the Focuses, but a lot of people have complained that the steering wheel material peels off. So keep that in mind. You want to see how worn the steering wheel is. Obviously, when we look at the cars, we're going to be checking all that out, so we make sure that we pick out the best car possible when you're shopping for one of these. The exhaust flaps can get stuck either open or closed. If they're stuck open, you can have some issues with some drive modes not working. Steering angle sensor failure. This is an issue that happens to some cars. Again, these are just things that you should look for. Check if coolant mixed with oil. If your head gasket, if your car overheated, then the coolant might mix with the oil because it separates basically the head gasket. There's a gap, obviously, and it can pour over into the oil. You know how that works. Rattling trim. Again, it's a Ford. Launch control starts can wear the clutch prematurely, so when you're talking to somebody about this car or about their car that you're potentially buying, you want to ask them, well, you could ask them, but you want to get a feel for how badly the car has been abused. You don't want to get a car that's been off-roaded or beat on or like tuned and they put it back to stock in terms of installing a new turbo and stuff. With a tune, it's okay. These cars can handle a tune, but once you start going with a bigger turbo on a stock block, that can lead to future problems. But basically, you want to check to make sure that it hasn't been launched too much or they don't use drift mode too much, just so you can get the best product possible. But again, launch control starts can wear the clutch prematurely. That's obvious. Vehicles with track use can see premature turbo and gearbox failure. So again, you want to see if the car has been tracked a lot. These cars are the top of the line Ford Focus. Of course, some people are going to take them to the track. That's what they were made for. But just keep in mind, with any car that's been abused or driven hard, they're not going to be as good in terms of a buy. Look for leaks on the PTU. So as I mentioned before, let me just bring that back. You want to look for leaks up here on the PTU. It's just going to be where the two CV shafts connect into the unit, right or left. And you want to also look for the same leaks in the RDU. Same thing, except you also want to check where the drive shaft connects to it as well. What else? Oh yeah, on earlier models, the dampers were super bouncy. This is not really a problem, more like a feature of the car. So if you want to get a better driving car, you want to get a 2018. They softened up the dampers due to just feedback from the customers who bought the cars. If you've ever ridden in one, you know exactly what I'm talking about. I'm guessing they developed this car for the German Autobahn for some reason. Nice smooth paved road, and so any road with any sort of texture or you going over those bridge gaps, it's going to be a really harsh ride. The only thing that really dampens the ride is going to be the seat, to be honest. So just keep that in mind. Again, I forgot. Turbo banjo bolts and the upper shift plate are also going to be areas that could leak as well. So just want to make sure the turbo banjo bolts, that's where the oil goes in and out of the turbo. You want to make sure that that is nice and dry, and same with the upper shift plate. Leaking door seals. This happens with used cars in general. And then 450 horsepower is really the limit for the stock motor. So again, you want to ask these questions. If the guy was like, yeah, man, this car made like 500 horsepower, blah, 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 you'd be like, okay, well, it's probably been probably beat on a little bit because these cars don't really handle that much power too well. If you want to make power, you can get it built. Then they can handle all the power you can throw at it. To be honest, if you get a built one of these, 500 horsepower is pretty much the sweet spot. So keep that in mind. What else? That's about it. Again, I'd say look for a later model year car. 2017 late model 2017s as well as 2018s are going to be your best buys. However, those are going to be the most expensive because everyone knows that they are the best ones. 2016s are going to be the cheaper ones. But again, if you just want to get into one, the 2016 is not a bad car. They are pretty much all going to be in the same range of reliability. It's not like the 2018 is way more reliable. It's just they worked out some of the kinks. That's about it in terms of the suspension. And then as well as the materials, I forgot to mention, Also on the 2018, it comes with carbon interior parts. And so that looks a lot nicer than the plastic that is included with the 2016 and 2017 models. So again, 2018 is going to be the one to get. However, only 1,000 units were shipped to the United States, so it might not be the easiest one to find, especially for a decent price. These range from about 20 grand to around 40 grand, so big range there. Again, the 40 grand ones are mostly going to be those 2018 models. Cool. All right, let's get into the ads. We're going to start off with Facebook and then move over to Car Gurus. We have our first example right here. This is going to be a 2016 in stealth gray. You can see it's on the forged wheels as well. It looks a little bit low. So, you want to see what it's on. Let's read the description real quick. 87,000 miles, regular maintenance, kept up, zero mechanical issues whatsoever, and the interior is in incredible shape. So not much of a description here. This is not really something I like to see in terms of a description. When I'm buying a car like this, especially a tuner car, you want to make sure that you get the full story. Like you want an owner that really cared about the car. We'll see. Hopefully we can find some descriptions where they talk a lot about the car, but this one you have to ask a lot of questions. So by Ellie Branch, clean title at least, but as you can see, interior, we have the RS2 package. You can tell automatically because the seat has this solid piece right here. The RS1 seats have a bunch of parallel lines that follow this design right here. It's like a bunch of them. And also, of course, you can see it is power. So RS2 package off the bat. That's the easiest way to tell. Looks pretty good. She's not lying. It is a clean interior. Doesn't look too bad, honestly. But again, it does have 87,000 miles. Standard wear. Doesn't look like the back seats were used too much. Some sand here and there, I guess. Stock engine, which is a good sign. It's a good sign in terms of if you want to, the most potentially reliable car if it hasn't been messed with. But again, it all depends on the maintenance schedule. These cars do require a little bit more maintenance than a regular Focus. For example, the spark plug should be changed every 10 to 15,000 miles, which is kind of often when you think about it. So just make sure that it's been well taken care of and by someone who knows what they're talking about. But again, RS2 package. Can you see if it has a sunroof? I can't really tell. Let's see if we can see here. It doesn't look like it, to be honest. But I can't tell. The video is not taken from a high enough angle. Anyway, sunroof or not, doesn't really matter to me, but some people do like a sunroof. But again, that will add some extra top end weight to the vehicle. This one they're asking 25 grand, listed 13 weeks ago, so it's been for sale for a while. That is a red flag. 13 weeks is a long time. Anything above like 10 weeks, you're like, well, I know someone has checked it out and said no, so you want to figure out why that person said no. But again, you could get lucky with that. It could be a case where you can use that to your advantage and, ask for a lower price. I'd say for me, just because it's been for sale for 13 weeks, I'd be probably around, to be honest, it's 2016 with high miles, I'll be around 20 grand. Let's be real here. 20 grand is what I'd be at for this Ford Focus RS. Cool. Moving on to our next example, we have a nitrous blue 2016, 46,000 miles. They want 32.5. That's a lot of money. Anything they have to say about it? Nope. Asking 32.5 or best offer, no trades, clean title, no accidents, fully loaded, has CarPlay. CarPlay is good. I'm not sure how much it costs to put CarPlay in these vehicles, but CarPlay is always a plus for me at least. He also has a spare set of OZ Rally rims and tires that are brand new. That is also good because that's like, I don't know, new tires and rims. You can estimate 2 or 3 grand as a good price that adds to the vehicle. So really, you're only paying like 29 grand. 46,000 miles, so not that many miles. Again, these are Focuses at the end of the day, so they can be run for a while, even though they do have a higher strung engine. But think about it, a lot of the 2.3 liter EcoBoost you see 150,000 plus miles. Clean title. Let's look at the pictures, see what we got here. The good thing about the Ford Focus RS is that since it's such a pinnacle vehicle in the sense that it's hailed in high regard, people usually keep them clean. So let's see if that carries over to this one. Yep, this one looks really good. Again, RS2 package, as you can see, because it has the power seats, of course. Looks like this guy had a dog. So, we want to check to make sure the car didn't smell too bad. Let's see. It looks clean. Nitrous blue is going to be the color most people want. You don't see really any damage at all. It looks, you know, the wheels could be clean, but it's on the forged wheels as well. So that's a plus for me, at least. The forged wheels are going to be the more desirable wheels. Not bad at all, but 32.5 is kind of a lot. Even with the extra wheels, I'd say for me, I'd be willing to probably go with the extra wheels. Probably around 28 grand is probably the ceiling for me on something like this, because it is still a 2016. However, 46,000 miles isn't that many miles. Cool. Moving on to our next one, we have a white example. This one has a lot of carbon fiber, as you can see, aftermarket wheels, and yep, it looks like upgraded rotors as well. You can see the front splitter is also aftermarket, so a lot of stuff done here. Also a big wing and a lot of stuff here. So this is a car that you really want to make sure hasn't been abused. I mean, carbon fiber pieces aren't cheap, so maybe he's more of on the, this is his taste side rather than ricing it outside. But again, you want to see what he has to say about it. Okay, so this one has a little bit longer description, which is a good sign. 39,000 miles, so lowish miles. Clean car, clean title, fully forged crank. So this car is built. This is one of those ones that if you want to get a built car or a car that's a little bit better or faster than stock, make sure it's built. However, you really want to be careful with built motor. You want to know who built the motor. Do they have a reputation for these builds? Let's see, does it say anything? By Head Game. So again, you can always see what kind of work this company does. Fully forged crank, sleeve, diamond pistons, custom cams, machine work done by Engine Militia, port and polish head by Head Games, radiant port injection with full fuel system and dual catch cans, tuned on E50, making 525 to the wheels. Very impressive. As you can see, this again, as I mentioned before, the carbon fiber is kind of a giveaway because these pieces aren't cheap. So if you spent this much on the body, you know he put in some money with the car, especially with it being fully built. Engine is completely broken in and tested and verified. 5K miles on current setup. It's on KW coilovers, has a CAE shifter, Watson racing cage, so it's cage as well. Keep that in mind. If you want this for a daily driver, don't get a car with a cage. But this car seems to be the real deal. I like his description, very detailed. Spent the last 7 years getting the chassis sorted and dialed in, ready to move on another project, no trades. Let's take a look at some of the pictures. You know, it's fully built, so you have less to worry about in terms of it, the engine being a little bit more, how do I say this, used or abused than, you know, the rest of the vehicles, because it is only 5K miles on the rebuild. But again, with 5K miles on the rebuild, you still have lots of miles to go, so you want to make sure that you are familiar with who built the engine and that you have their contact information in case anything goes wrong. You can see the shifter in here, so it's going to have that short shifting action. It has the cage, it has the harness, it has the fire extinguishers. This is a fast car. Wheels look pretty good. He even has pictures of the engine out of the car, which is pretty cool. I'm sure he has a full build list and everything in terms of receipts, so that's also going to be good as well. You can see all the pieces, the pistons, rings, the pistons, the rings, and the connecting rods. This is going to be that CAE shifter, as I mentioned before. Looks pretty good, not going to lie. This looks like a, you know, a decent build. This carbon fiber wing is probably a lot of money as well. How much does he want? 50 grand for this car. See, this is where, you know, 50 grand can get you so much car. And, you know, for 50 grand, you could get something that makes 525 horsepower to the wheels from the factory with factory, like reassurance in mind. You know, I'm not going to knock the builders of this car. It looks like it's pretty well done. All I'm saying is that you really got to love this car in order to pay this much for it. 49 grand. I say just because of the work involved. I mean, I don't want to, like, you know, talk bad about his build, but I probably wouldn't go over like 39 grand. I really wouldn't want to go in the 40s for something like this. It's still a Ford Focus at the end of the day. However, if you're into this kind of thing, lowish miles, really good, really detailed build. He showed the pictures of the entire process. Yeah, I'd be at 39 grand, but I know people that could probably pay this. Yeah. Hey, shout out to Clean Whips, man. It really means a lot that y'all actually tuned in after all this time. I'm gonna, you know, keep being consistent with these videos, and I really appreciate you guys being back. Yeah, 39 grand for this is where I'd be at. Just scroll through the pictures. A little ricery on the look, but you know, it is what it is. That's his taste. I would have wrapped it to make it look a little bit more OEM, but the carbon fiber does look pretty cool. Moving on to our next one. Let's refresh that because Facebook. All right. Do they all do that? All right, cool. We have a 2017, so we're moving into the later model years. This one, depending on when it is built, you're going to have to look at the VIN to make sure. But the later 2017 models are where I'd start looking for these cars. Because this one is also customized as well. You can see a big intercooler down here. It's on the forged wheels, it looks like. Lowered as well. Let's see the build list. We got a Turbo Smart compact blow-off valve, dual port with boost reference adapter, ETS Extreme catback exhaust system, ETS front mount intercooler with piping, Turbo Smart upgraded wastegate actuator, ETS intake kit, radium PCV catch can, custom catless downpipe, UPR crankcase breather, and KW suspension. You don't like the Ford Focus RS clean whips? That's crazy. I don't really like it either, but we do all cars on this channel, so we're going to go through this. I know someone's going to find this helpful. This is actually not too bad of a build. This is about as much as you really want on the stock block, as I mentioned before. At least it doesn't have any turbo upgrades, just the blow-off valve in terms of turbo system parts, I guess, and upgraded wastegate actuator. If you put a bigger turbo on these cars, it's not really good for the stock bottom end. That's all I have to say. Lowered has a custom hood, but this hood gap is not it for me. I'm not a fan of hood gap. It looks really bad. Diffusers too. I mean, it looks all right. It looks like how one of these could look, I guess. I can't see the seats, so I'm not too sure if it is a RS1 or RS2 package car. He kind of blocked out the controls, and I can't see the seat backs or the fronts, I guess, the back part of the seats. Clean Whip said only good Ford are trucks and Mustangs. Man, okay, I'm gonna say this. I don't really like the Ford Focus RS because it is a hot hatch. I'm not a big fan of hot hatches. I think there are better ways to spend your money. However, the Ford Focus RS is a really, really capable car in terms of handling the turns and with the seats and everything. Like, if you've ever ridden in one, you'll know what I'm talking about. It grips, so it grips like crazy. Yeah, I can't tell if it's an RS1 or RS2 package. 29.5 though, it has 51,000 miles for a full bolt-on with the coilovers. The coilovers are going to be kind of expensive, especially being KW, so keep that in mind. And a medium amount of miles, 51,000 miles. I'd say for me, being a 2017, depending on if it's a late model year, let's just assume it's a late model year, I'd probably be willing to go up to like around, I didn't even read what he said. Testing the waters, RS2 package, so he says it right there. Just feel guilty of not driving the car as much as it should be driven. There are other mods which are not in the listing, such as cosmetics. Feel free to ask and I can provide those as well. This is a beast of a car for anyone who's looking for something, for track/street use. Feel free to ask any questions. Hey man, it all depends on what you want out of your car. I'm not a big fan of hot hatches. I guess I'll keep saying that, but yeah, they do ride like they ride horribly. They ride hard. 2018s ride a little bit better, but not that much better. I'd be willing to go probably around for 2017. I'd be like 26 grand. 26 grand for this. I think would be all right. I'm just concerned, like, these body panels don't line up very well. I'm not really a big fan of that, but I guess it's because he had to take off the bumper and everything to put in this intercooler, and it has a custom hood, so maybe it's just not aligned properly. 26 grand. Cool. Moving on to our next example, we have another white one. Gosh, 2017. They want 37 grand for this one. That's kind of a lot of money. 37 grand. Like, we're coming up on $40,000. Like, I'm just thinking, like, 6-7 years ago, I bought a 335i, 8 grand, 7,500. I forget what I paid for it, and that was a lot more car than this, to be honest. Yeah, it's crazy. It's crazy, man, how far we've come in terms of prices. But this one is in white. As you can see, it looks pretty stock so far as the forged wheels. I do like the white, though. The white looks pretty good. Interior, what does the interior look like? Yep, we have the RS2 package. We can see the power seats, manual. This looks all right. They got some lip on them, but, you know, it is what it is. We have a stock-ish, or stock-looking engine bay. So let's see what he has to say. RS2 package, 8-way power seats, blah, blah, blah. Sunroof, catback exhaust. So he has an exhaust, PPF cover over the front panels, Apple CarPlay. So it has CarPlay as well. That's convenient. Southern car, no rust, no accidents, clean title in hand. I mean, it is a clean car. I'm not going to lie. This is clean. I like the white. The white looks really good on this. Apple CarPlay, which is always cool. 40,000 for a Focus is insane. I'm telling you, man, these cars, they're only gonna either go up in price or stay where they are. These cars are super rare nowadays. Again, only around 70, 80 for sale, like on the main car websites, which is that's like the same as like Ferraris and Lamborghinis, which is pretty crazy in terms of, you know, like a Gallardo or something. There's not too many of these for sale at all. And as the years go on, you're going to see them less and less. But yeah, 37 grand is way too much. 36,000 miles is pretty low, and it is very clean. It's a very clean stock car, so there is some value in it being unmolested. I'd say for me, being at 36,000 miles for 2017, I'd have to see if it was a late model year or not. I'd be willing to go up to like for being clean stock, low miles, maybe 31, maybe 32. But you know, the RS boys are going to be mad at me for that one, for lowballing their cars. But yeah, I wouldn't want to go anywhere above 31 grand, really. 31 grand for this. 40 grand is insane. 31 grand is insane, to be honest. Moving on to our next one, we have another white one. This one has RS2 package as well. 2017 Ford Focus, selling because I want to save money for a bike. Had it over a year, no problems at all. Asking 22.5, won't do no trades, has 96K on it, but runs perfectly fine. 22.5 is actually not bad for 2017, and this one is pretty clean. Not sure if this looks like a phone thing. I wasn't sure if it was an access port or not. Want to know if it's tuned. Shout out to Stitch. That's funny. Yeah, I mean, this one looks all right. Doesn't look too bad. Has the forged wheels in white, pretty stock looking. 96,000 miles, high amount of miles, but it is a 2017. So again, check to see if it is a late model year. If it is 22.5, 96,000 miles, I'd be willing to probably go up to 19 for this. 19, under 20 grand for a Ford Focus RS is not a bad deal, especially considering today's market. What did Clean Whip say? Clean Whip said you can get a BMW 540, the B58 for way less and better platform for me personally. I mean, of course, yeah, you could. I'm more compared to the 3 Series. You can get a 3 Series of B58. I think that would be a really good platform. 5 Series is not really the same. It's more of a floaty car. It's not. This is way more capable around the turns than a 540. But I get what you're saying. The B58 is a way better platform, to be honest. And you can get them for the same money, if not less. Yep, 19 grand is where I'd be at. I think 19 would be a fair deal. Like if they came down to 19, that would be a good deal for both ends. Cool. Gotta refresh this, of course, because Facebook is ass. Anyway, we have another 2017. This one is going to be a mileage is posted in the title. What? Oh, 110,000 miles on this one. So high mile example. Exactly. They are front wheel drive based with a rear drive unit that sends up to 70% of the torque to the rear. However, it only sends a torque to the rear when it detects slip in the front. So it is front wheel drive based, but you can drift it technically, even though most people never do. Black car, forged wheels. Let's see what it has. It's at a dealership, so you know you're going to be bent over with the fees. So keep that in mind. This one has the RS2 package. We'll get into some RS1 package cars in a bit when I get to them, I guess. But as you can see, RS2 package car, 2017, sunroof or moonroof, whatever they want to call it. Looks pretty clean, but again, dealerships always detail their cars. Power seats, heated steering wheel, heated seats. It's all right, I guess. Not too much information. Again, at a dealership, you want to be careful. You can definitely get better deals buying private party. However, dealership does offer some peace of mind if you're not too into cars, but this car is pretty focused. So if you're buying one of these, I'm pretty sure you know what you're doing. And if not, that's what this video is for. Cool. All right. For this one, having 110,000 miles, they want 25 for it. No, I'd be around the 17.5 mark for this. 17.5. But again, it's a dealership, so they never do that. But that's where I'd be at for this vehicle. Moving on to our next one. This gray is nice too. The white, gray, and red are probably my favorites. The nitrous blue is cool. You just see it a lot. But the gray looks really nice, actually. I don't know if it's like the overcast or the filter or whatever, but gray looks nice. So you can see it's on the standard wheels, lowered as well. See what he has to say about it. 2017. Oh, it's at a dealer. It's at a dealer too. So great all-terrain tires. Literally looks new. Sorry for the dirty photos. I want to get this beautiful vehicle online. How long has it been for sale? 14 weeks. probably sold by now, but a good example of a gray one. You can see this has the RS1 package. This is what I'm talking about. It has a bunch of parallel lines. This is how you could tell if you're looking at the seat and you can't see the bottom for some reason, but looking at the bottom, you can also see that it is a manual seat. So RS1 package, this is the car that is that you really don't want, to be honest. It doesn't have nav or anything like that. But you know, not really many people care about nav. You can always upgrade the head unit to have CarPlay. So if you want to do that, you can do that as well. However, you want power seats, you want heated seats, you want a heated steering wheel, especially when you're paying 34 grand for a car. This one is 60,000 miles. 34 grand is way too much. 33,795. I'd say for me, because it's an RS1 package, being a 2017 with 60,000 miles, I'd be more around like the $26,000 mark. The RS2 package definitely adds a lot for me. And if you know about it, you're going to want to get it. I mean, you could sell someone an RS1 package if they don't know what it is. They'll find out later. But for me, 27 grand is where I'd be at for this 2017 with 60,000 miles. Moving on to our next example, we have a nitrous blue 2017 with 7,000 miles. Okay, so this is something that would not necessarily be a bad thing to get in terms of a collector car. Let's see if it's an RS2 package, though. It's at a dealership, it looks like. They don't really know much about it in terms of... Oh, RS1 package. That's a shame. Low mile car, RS1 package. Sorry, let me take a sip. RS1 package, which is meh. I wouldn't really consider an RS1 package at all. But it is a stock vehicle. It's at a dealership. You know it's going to be taxed. But only 7,000 miles. So basically a brand new car. 40 grand is what they're asking. I'd say because it's an RS1 package, I try to get it for 35 and then sell it later on down the line when these become a collector vehicle, which they will be for sure. That's facts. This car will be a collector vehicle at one time. So if you want to capitalize on it somehow, it's going to be not the best use of your money probably, but if you want to capitalize it, this is definitely one to capitalize on. Even though it is an RS1 package, someone will want it in the future, especially with having low miles. I don't think they'll get too expensive though. I can't really see them getting maybe over like 60 grand. Oh yeah, definitely the RS is going to be a collector. It's the last RS car. It has a whole bunch of hands, like in terms of who made the vehicle, in terms of who was involved. Ken Block was involved. You have Cosworth, they were involved. It is a global car, and they don't make them anymore. They only made them for 3 years. I'd say the most collectible ones are going to be the 2018s. We'll get those in a second, but I think it will be a collectible car in the future. Hot take. I don't know, man. I think Ford is not going to ever make cars like this ever again. They're going to be making like more efficient vehicles, more technologically driven vehicles, not as fun. You know, the Mustang is always going to be good, I think. I think Ford will hold out on making a Mustang, but in terms of a hot hatch, the Focus isn't even being made anymore, so I don't think they're going to do this ever again. Cool. All right, so 35 grand for a 7,000 mile RS1 car. Moving on to our next example, if it wants to load. We have a white example. This is going to be a 2017. High miles, 90,000 miles. Does it say anything? Nope. I'm not going to your link. You should just copy the description you put on the website and put it on your Facebook ad. That way they don't not go to your website. Because that's what I'm about to do, not go to your website. Anyway, you see it's at a dealership as well. 90,000 miles. Let's check it out. Aftermarket wheels. Looks like it's lowered a little bit. It has some mud flaps. This is an RS1 package as well. So again, not going to be a fully loaded car. Yeah, it depends on what you like, man. I don't know if I guess maybe some people may like a manual seat. You can move it faster, I guess. But again, I'm going to price that into whatever I figure out this price will be. Let's keep scrolling. Looks pretty clean. Again, RS1 package, so no nav. But you can always do Apple CarPlay nowadays. People don't really care about the nav. Who uses car nav anyways? I don't. Nothing really to say here. Stock engine, it looks like. I don't really see much going on. Just some aftermarket exterior and cosmetic upgrades. 26.6, they're asking 90,000 miles. Again, I'd have to see if it was a late model year 2017. But for me, being at 20 or 90,000 miles, I'd be probably around the $22,000 mark for this. But again, it's at a dealership, so they're probably not going to let you get away with that. Try to buy private party if you can. 22,000. Next ad we have 2017. This one is in stealth gray. See the wheels on the standard wheels, as you can see, but the gray looks really good. Clean car so far. Let's see what he has to say. Pristine 2017 Ford Focus RS2. With 30. I was supposed to say W30 with 30,150 miles. Completely bone stock. Besides a 20% SunTech ceramic tint. Has Pilot Sport 4S tires. Those are good tires, expensive tires, probably around like $1,500 a set for this kind of setup. Not really sure, but around that. 2,500 miles. All maintenance kept up to date. Head gasket recall has been done, so this is probably an earlier 2017 model before they changed it from the factory. It has every option besides a sunroof, so you know that's good or bad depending on if you want a sunroof or not. 37.5. Holy crap! 30,000 miles. No, man. Yeah, this is not worth 37.5. RS2 package, as you mentioned, so it's going to have everything but the sunroof. It is a 2017, so you're not going to get that carbon fiber trim that comes in the 2018. We'll see that in a second. Very clean car. I'll give him that. Only 30,000 miles, but again, 37 is way too high. Listed 3 days ago, so you know he's about to see all the people lowballing him, but I would be probably around the $33,000 mark. It's clean. It's in gray, which is a cool color on these. But it doesn't have a sunroof, which I mean depends on what you want it for. I just want a sunroof. It's more convenient. The only reason why I wouldn't get a sunroof if it had a carbon fiber roof or something like that. But for this one, I'd be around 33 grand. 37.5 is what he's asking. It's private party, so you can probably work him down a little bit. And all the maintenance up to date. Again, with maintenance, you want to make sure that they have the paperwork for all this. Builds too. Unless they did all the work themselves, then I'd probably stay away from that vehicle. So try to get all the paperwork you can get. Moving on to our next example. We have a 2017 with 110,000 miles aftermarket hood. We can see it's not the cleanest car in the world. It is on some aftermarket wheels and it is cambered out in the front. It looks like, maybe not. Maybe it's just lowered. Good stance though. I liked it. I like the way it looks visually, but again, upgraded wing. You can see this part is a little bit bigger than stock. What he has to say about it? What does he have to say about it? Blue quad coat exterior looks nitrous blue quad coat exterior. MK wheels, carbon fiber hood, 19 service records on Carfax. The wheels do look good. I'm not gonna lie, the stance on this looks pretty much perfect, but yeah. Engine bay looks stock as well. Nothing really going on here. Interior looks good. RS1 package. Yeah, man. I stay away from the RS1 package simply because for resale, they're going to be harder to sell. Everyone wants the RS2 package. And you get more creature comforts, kind of, with the RS2 package. I think it's mostly just a flex, though. I would always get the RS2, though. 110,000 miles. 26.6 they're asking. I'd say for having 110,000 miles and having an aftermarket hood and being on these wheels, you also have to see if he has the stock wheels. If he does, that's a good sign. If not, yeah, I'd be more around the $20,000 to $21,000 mark for this. I could possibly go up to 22. If he had the stock wheels, 22 would be great. But for me, I'd say 21 is where I'd be at for this modified 2017 RS. All right. What are we doing on time? An hour? Okay, we're almost at the car guru's part, so we'll wrap it up soon. Here we have a black example. This is a 2016. I don't know why this wasn't in order, but we'll go back. 2016. This is the one you really don't want, but if it's a good price and has low enough miles, you know, it could be not that bad of a purchase. See, it is in black on the standard wheels. Interior, we can see RS2 package, which is a good thing. It is a 2016, so you want to get as many options as you can. Looks pretty clean, though. I mean, it only has 67,000 miles. This isn't too bad of a deal for 24 grand. It's been for sale for 3 weeks. What do he have to say? What does he have to say about it? Oh, rebuilt title, man. Get this out of here. Anyway, moving on to our next ad. I don't do rebuilt titles. They're hard to insure. You don't know how well it's rebuilt. There's just too many variables with the rebuilt title car. If you want to take that risk, you definitely can do that. However, I would not recommend it. Again, hard to insure. And depending on the state, for example, here in Louisiana, I do not trust any inspection station because they don't do state inspections here. So I don't know what they're looking for. Here we can see big intercooler, upgraded intercooler on this one. Stealth gray again, has the forged wheels, stock height, so that's a good sign, I guess. This is like a semi rally car, I'd say. So a lowered one isn't really the best, or like the way to enjoy this car, in my opinion. But again, to each his own. We can see this one is an RS2 package just by the seats. Doesn't look too bad. Has all season mats. But yeah, RS2 package, not that bad of an example. Mud flaps, let's see what he has to say. For sale is personal focus RS2. I've had many cars, including several STIs and friends with Evos. This is definitely the best one out of the competition. This car drives perfect. Just recently had new tires put on. Brakes were done. Rear end fluid service. It also comes with it comes loaded with Brembo brakes, Recaro seats, heated steering, heated seats, factory sub, Android Auto, drive mode selection to go from all-wheel drive to rear-wheel drive, blah blah blah. It's not real, man. He's trying to sell you right here. This is not it cannot go to just rear-wheel drive. 70% of the torque can go to the rear. Okay, here are the mods. We have Husky mats, excuse me, Borla exhaust, green intake filter, ETS intercooler, Cobb adjustable short shifter, really nice sounding blow off valve, rear or solid rear mount, sound suppression chamber installed, rally armor, mud flaps. This car is tastefully modded. Yeah, I'm not gonna lie, it is tastefully modded. I'll give him that. 23 grand, 2017, 72,000 miles. I'd say he's pretty close, honestly. 72,000 miles is getting a little bit up there, but again, these aren't like super unreliable cars. These will last for 150,000 miles with proper maintenance, of course. I'd say for me, I'd be at 21 grand, 22 grand. 23 honestly is a fair price if you want to, you know, not negotiate too hard, but I always recommend trying to get the lowest price possible, of course. But 23 is pretty fair in the realm of these cars we're talking about. So yeah, I'd be at 21 grand. Not bad. The gray is cool too. You see it has carbon fiber front. Again, big intercooler. So again, with the mods, you want to make sure that it runs good, but if the parts are good parts and he has receipts for them being installed, or you trust the person for installing themselves, this could be a good deal. Anyway, moving on to our final ad on Facebook. We have a 2018. So this is going to be the final edition. That's what they call it. It comes with the Quaife limited slip differential, as well as having a softer suspension, which is still hard, by the way. It's just a little bit softer. The 17s and the 16s, well, the early 17s and the 16s had super stiff suspension. So this one is a little bit more forgiving, a little bit better to drive. Ford basically took everyone's complaints and then adjusted it for the last model year of this car. What does he have to say about it? 2018 Ford Focus RS limited edition, only 1,000 were made. And this is one of 300 painted nitrous blue. Manual transmission, new engine, new turbo, new clutch, just replaced with new units. I don't know why the engine and clutch and turbo were replaced, but that would mean that this probably has a rebuilt title. Yeah, definitely has a rebuilt title. They didn't put the title status. So not really too sure what's going on here. 72,000 miles on the body, but new turbo and engine and clutch for some reason. So you want to get the title status of a car like this. It has new parts, but you want to figure out why it had new parts. You just list all the regular stuff. Yeah, they did not have the LSD. They had the clutch actuated torque vectoring system. Let me bring that up real quick. So basically, in the power transfer unit and the RDU, they had clutches that could basically send power to each of the wheels. And it's a good system. However, the LSD is a better system. And most people that drive these around with the LSD, the 2018 final edition models, say it's not really that much of a difference on regular day-to-day driving. But you know, it is what it is. I'm sorry, the clutches are only on the rear differential. On the front, it's just I guess it's open diff. Yeah. So I guess you're right. Yeah. Anyway, not too sure what's going on here. $36,000 for a rebuilt car is not it. I'd say for me, being a 2018, this would be the one to get. However, with the rebuilt engine, turbo, and clutch, I'd be more around the 33 or 36, whatever. 33 grand is what I'd be at for this one. Yeah, I wouldn't want to pay over that for a car with a new engine. That's just me, though. 33 grand, 72,000 miles for a 2018. Only one of 1,000, so you're not really going to do too bad there. Moving on to Car Gurus. This is my favorite place to look at ads because they have the best selection in terms of range as well as the quality of the website, and for the selection that you can filter the cars by. It has the best filtering in my opinion. We see here a first example, the cheapest example, one of the cheapest ones, 19.9, so 20 grand for a 2016 RS in black. So you can see forged wheels, tires look all right. Probably could use new rotors, so keep that in mind. A car like this, the cheapest version, is definitely going to be lacking on maintenance. That's why it's the cheapest one. It's not the cleanest car either. You can see it doesn't even have mats, so that's not a good sign. RS2 package though, so that's all right, I guess. You got an RS2, so at least it's not the cheapest of the cheap. But again, this is a 2016, so it's going to ride really bad. You want to make sure that it had the head gasket recall done. What else can we see here? No sunroof. RS2 with no sunroof. Back seats look worn. I mean, it is one of the cheaper examples, so you really can't complain much. 118,000 miles. So a ton of miles in this car. Let's see how long it's been for sale. Only 32 days for sale, 36 saves. So a lot of people are looking at it. When this gets to around 90 to 100 days is when you can really start making deals. However, 32 days, they're still trying to get as much as they can out of it. 19.9, 20K is what they're asking for. 118,000 miles is really high, and it is at a dealership, so you know it's going to be taxed anyway. I'd say for me, I'd be around 115 grand. I'd be around 15 grand for this car. I already saw you need to do the brakes at some point. And probably a lot of other stuff as well. You're going to be spending around 2 to 3 grand to get this car at least refreshed to being okay at 120,000 miles. Yeah, if they looked a little bit cleaner, then maybe I could do closer to 20, but I'd be at 15 for this example. Cool. Moving on to our next one. If it loads, we have another 2016. They want 23 for this one. It has 119,000 miles, so even more than the last one. However, just by these pictures off the bat, it looks a little bit cleaner. It looks a little bit better shape, but let's take a look at the interior and see if that's true or not. Interior looks a little bit better. Again, it has rear mats, but no passenger mat, but it does. Actually, no, the mats were underneath the paper. So it has mats. You can see the steering wheel on this one is starting to flake. That's what I was talking about with the problems. I'm not sure if the later model years had more of a fix for this, but the 2016, definitely, the steering wheel is going to look like this after 100,000 miles. Bolster wear isn't too bad. You can see a little bit of a tear right here. This is going to be an RS2 package car. You can see it has the power seats. But yeah, steering wheel looking a little ratty. Yeah, I need some gas. Guess it doesn't really matter. Let's see, what else can we see? Yep, seats look a little worn. But again, 120,000 miles on this car. The brakes look pretty good. It looks like they were done at some point. You can see slotted rotors. And it has Michelin's on it, which is also a good sign. Michelin's are always a good sign when you're looking for a used car because it just means they spent a lot on the tires. And hopefully you could translate that into spending a lot on the vehicle itself. But you know, that always doesn't line up. That doesn't always line up, but it could. Regular wheels, no forged wheels here. Sorry, let me take another sip. My mouth is dry. Anyway, 23 grand is what they're asking. 119,000 miles, a little bit better condition than the last one we looked at. So maybe that 3 grand went into fixing it up a little bit in terms of where they're getting that dollar amount from. Only one previous owner. Has been for sale for 60 days, 59 days. So getting close to that 90-day mark where you can really start making deals. Let me read some of these descriptions because these dealer descriptions suck. I don't know who, if you have like someone who's auto-filling this or like a system that's auto-filling these, but these descriptions are so ass. Like, it just tells you the stats of the car. I want to know about this specific car. That's what a description should be. Anyway, for this one, having what looks like some better maintenance, I'd be around the $19,000 mark. Again, it is a 2016. Moving on to our next one, we have another 2016. Wow, they're asking a lot for this one. 27 grand. It has 127,000 miles. I'm trying to figure out why. Do they even say anything in the description? Nope. Again, another generic dealership description. That gets a slap. Where's the slap at? I haven't used that in a while. Did I even play? There we go. Because, yeah, that's crazy. What are they doing here? 27 grand. How long has it been for sale? 3 days. So they just listed it. Buddy, you're not going to get West State Motorsport. I'd be surprised if you get 20 grand for this car. Let's scroll down. Let's look at some of these pictures. I mean, it is gray. Gray is a cool color. I'm not going to lie. It looks pretty clean for having that many miles, but it does have that many miles. At least it's an RS2. At least we got something going for it. Steering wheel looks worn. Again, 127,000 miles. 2016. Yeah. Yeah, this is way above market. It says 5 grand above market. I think this is like almost 10 grand above market. For 127,000 miles, I'd be around 18 grand, maybe 18.5. But yeah, I do agree with you, Clean Whips. The gray is a nice color. I think it's one of my favorites. I said the white was, or the red was, but after looking at these, the gray definitely is. It looks really good, especially in like more overcasty type of lighting. Yeah. 18.5 is what I'd be at for that. That's ridiculous. 27 grand. 27.21. What a weird number. Anyway, moving on to our next one. We have another 2016. 23.5 they're asking. It has a bunch of orange accents, which is interesting. Been for sale for 20 days. Let's see what they have to say. Nothing at all. We're getting another slap for that. That is annoying. Anyway, let's see the interior. Check it out. See if it looks clean or not. I'm not really a fan of all this. This is very ricey to me. You got the aftermarket tails, orange flaps, orange trim pieces. Oh, back the blue flag. RS2 package at least, so it has something. Wow, they did all the badges with this orange. Does not look good. But again, to each his own, I guess. RS2 package, 2016 with 115,000 miles, 24 grand. I'd say because of all the Ricer mods, I'd be around, do they have a description? No, we already looked at that. Yeah, I'd be more around the, I'd be around the 16.5 mark for this. It's gray, I get it, gray's a cool color, but with the mods, I'm just gonna lowball it. Because if someone mods this car like this, I don't really trust them, to be honest. Cool, all right, 16.5. Moving on to our next one. We have a nitrous blue one, 2017. So we're getting up there in terms of the model years. Only 23 grand they're asking. 103,000 miles. See, this is more realistic. It's a nicer color. It looks clean. Unfortunately, it is an RS1 car. That is probably why it's a little bit cheaper. So no power seats, no heated seats, no heated steering wheel. But yeah, RS1 car. They took some nice pictures to try to make it look as good as possible, but it is still an RS1 car. No sunroof either. So this is like super base, if you want to call it base. Rotors, I don't know if it just got washed, but they don't look the best. Engine bay looks stock. I mean, that's all right, I guess. Not too bad. But RS1 car, 103,500 miles. They want 23 grand for it. I'd say being a 2017, I'd be around the $20,000 mark. Cool. How many days? It's been for sale? 16 days. So it has a little bit of time before the prices will go a little bit down. Newer brakes. So not new brakes. Newer brakes. Fresh oil change. Slick top. That's the funniest thing. It's not a BMW. Don't call it a slick top. It is a sunroofless car. Slick top. They try to sell you with the no sunroof. Yeah, it's a lighter version. It's better for racing. No, it just means they didn't check the box. All right. 20 grand for this, I think, would be all right. Moving on to our next example. We have a 2017 in black. Looks like it's lowered a little bit on the forged wheels. Let's see how good of a condition it's in. Doesn't look like it's in the best lot. It has the clear tails. You can see some scratches on the paint. This is a 2017, but it has carbon fiber parts. But just the armrest, not the handbrake. Let's see. Do they show the backs of the seats? RS2 car at least. So it's an RS2, black, lowered, has carbon fiber on the front. Yeah, kind of rough in my opinion. Not the cleanest example. 25 grand, 93,000 miles. So these are a little bit higher mile vehicles, but this is on the lower end. I just want to show you guys some of the lower end vehicles, just so you can, you know, include the most amount of people who want to buy these. Let's see how long it's been for sale. 55 days on Car Gurus. So it's getting up there in terms of days. No one wants it. Doesn't seem like it's gone down in price. Nothing to say about it, of course. It's at a dealership. 25 grand. How many thousand miles? 93. I'd say because it's a little bit on the rougher side and it has some aftermarket parts. For 93,000 miles, I'd be around the 19.5, maybe 19 grand mark for this. It's at a dealership, so you're probably not going to get that, but that's what I value it as. Yeah, 19.5. I would stay away from a car like this. I want to get a car that's as stock as possible, to be honest. At least I can, you know, with cars, unless you're getting your dream car and you're not going to sell it ever, you're going to have to sell the car at some point. And if it looks like this, people are going to go for a more stock example, especially with cars like an RS, because it is, in my opinion, going to be a collector's vehicle. You want to get one that has the most original parts. Cool. Moving on to our next ad if it wants to load. There we go. Come on. We have a white example. This one looks nice. White on forged wheels, but the price is insane. 42 grand. 14,000 miles. So again, a collector's example. But if you're going to spend 42 grand for whatever reason, I don't know why, get a 2018. Don't get a 2017. 2018s are a lot better in terms of the refinement. Well, not a lot better, but they're better. They're as good as it's going to get. This one's white, forged wheels. I mean, it's going to be clean. It only has 14,000 miles. Scrolling through, at least it's an RS2, so RS2 package. Oh, I forgot to say again, for the 2018s, RS2 was standard. They didn't do RS1 anymore because people don't want RS1. RS2, sunroof, so fully loaded. That's what a fully loaded RS is. RS2 and sunroof. Very clean, as it should be. No mods. At the dealership, 42 grand is what they're asking. 14,000 miles. It's been for sale for probably a while. 37 days. Not too long, I guess, but anything they want to say about it? Nope. Went through an inspection. All right. 42 grand. I say for me, being a 2017 with 14,000 miles, I try to get it around 35, 34 grand. Because it is an RS2. So 35 grand, I guess, but yeah, that is not worth it in my opinion. Just get a 2018 if you're going to pay this much. 2018s are way more collectible. Moving on to our next example. We only got a few left, y'all. Shout out to the 7 people in the chat right now. You know, I haven't been on in a while, so it's pretty lit that y'all came back to watch the videos. I really, y'all. 2017, 35 grand, forged wheels, nitrous blue. Scrolling through, stock engine bay, it looks like. I don't really see much, but again, actually there is a catch can right here, it looks like. So I think yeah, so that could be something. I mean, that could be something. That is something. RS2 package as well. Sunroof, so fully loaded for what it is. 2017, 55,000 miles. They want 35 grand for this. How long has it been for sale? 82 days. So this is getting up there. This is one of those ones that I start trying to negotiate heavy on. You know, if you're going to negotiate, have the money ready. Don't just try to negotiate and do what I do and just negotiate for fun. I mean, you can if you want, get some practice, but I mean, like, you know, to get the real deals, have the money ready, because if you say, like, I'll send you this right now and you can possibly make a deal. Anyway, 34.9 is what they're asking. 35 grand. 55,000 miles, fully loaded 2017. If it's a later model year, I'd probably be willing to go up to maybe 31 grand. It has everything I want. Upgraded intercooler as well. Do they talk about the upgrades? No. But you can see that right here. So it has some, yeah, I saw the blow-off valve, it looked like. I'm not blow-off valve. The catch can. Bigger intercooler, so it has some upgrades. You want to make sure those upgrades were installed correctly and have the paperwork that comes with it. But for this one, 31 grand is where I'd be at. Moving on to our next one. 2017 in black, 28.5 is what they're asking. 61,000 miles. This already looks like a pretty good deal off the bat, especially being at a dealer. 3 previous owners, 96 days. So it's been for sale for over 3 months. This is going to be one that you can negotiate on as well. Let's see if it's an RS1 or an RS2. I have a feeling it's going to be an RS1. Yep. Of course, that's what it's too cheap. It's too good to be true. RS1 package, you can see, has the manual seats. Stock engine bay, nothing going on here. Back seats look pretty good in terms of wear. Doesn't look like they were used at all. It is in black. But again, RS1 car, that's why it's a little bit cheaper. 61,000 miles is not a lot at all. Into 2017, they want 28.5. I'd be around the 26, maybe even $25,000 mark for this one. It's been for sale for a while, so you can definitely try to make a deal. Maybe even less than. Try to ask for 24, to be honest, and see what they say. But they probably end up around 26, I'd say. But I really wouldn't want to go over 26. 25 grand is where I'd be at. Moving on to our next one. Are we in the 2018s yet? Nope. Still 2017. We have a 2017 in white. Forged wheels. Has roof bars, which look interesting. Let's see. I'm trying to see the interior. RS2 package. So that's good. How many days has been for sale? 11 days. So not long. And of course, just a vague dealership description. Man. They don't really put much effort in these ads. I guess they got to upload so many. They don't want to write plus at a dealership, they don't really know the story, so I don't blame them, but still, I don't know. Do better. 38 grand, 2017, 19,000 miles. Oh, that's not bad. I say for having 19,000, I'd probably be at the 30. It's RS2, white. It's a good condition. I'd be at around the $35,000 mark if it's a later model year 2017. Hopefully it is. Yep. All right, moving on to our next ad. 2017 again. It's going to be on the stock wheels, black. Yeah, not too many 2018s. Am I running out of RAM or something? Come on now. All right. And it is an RS1 car. That is unfortunate. Okay. Aftermarket intake. RS1 car. Stock wheels. Sunroof though. In black. They want 31 grand, 32 grand. It must have low miles. 36,000 miles. Nah, not for an RS1. Nah, I'd be more. Let's see what it has to say first. It's been for sale for 30 days. And of course, nothing to say about the vehicle. Yeah, 32 is a little bit high for me. It's not too bad, I guess. It is 2017 with 36,000 miles. I'll probably be at around the $29,000 mark for one of these. Simply because it has lowish miles. And it's not the dirtiest car in the world, but RS1 is just not for me. Cool. Moving on to our next second to last ad. Here we go. We have a red example. Red was only available for the 2018 model year. In 2018, they only came in the blue and the red. And I think the red is one of the better looking vehicles, or better looking ways the vehicle comes. But I think that's just me liking the rare option. The red looks good, but the other colors look good as well. Forged wheels, sunroof. Very clean example. You can see the carbon fiber on the interior. This is a 2018, so it's gonna have a carbon fiber, whatever this is, door trim piece, as well as a carbon fiber handbrake. If we can see it, yeah, you can kind of see it right there. Carbon fiber handbrake, you can see that. So also carbon fiber around the gauge pod, which adds a lot to the interior of the gauge pod. Like, again, a little gimmicky, but with the carbon fiber, it looks a lot nicer. Very, very clean example. $42,000. This one has 39,000 miles. So this is kind of not a low mile car. It looks clean, but the miles are a little bit high. How long has this been for sale? 9 days. So not too long. And nothing to say about it, of course. Yeah, it's a 2018, so this is going to be the one to get. However, I don't believe you should pay 42 grand for a 39,000 mile Focus. I'd say for me, being that this is a 2018 and it's very clean, but having 40,000 miles, I'd probably be around the 37, maybe 37.5. But that's really what I'd be at for a car with this many miles. You can get like a brand new 2017 pretty much for less than that. 42 for a Focus is diabolical. I'm with you, man. This is ridiculous. Like, car prices are insane now. It's really sad, and it's crazy. I mean, just a short aside, I went to a Cars and Coffee the other day, and it was so sad. There were no cool cars there. Granted, it was raining, but I remember back in the day going to Cars and Coffee in the DMV, like rain or shine, you'd see supercars, you'd see old cars, like people will come out. But I don't think people have the money to do this anymore, which is really sad. we're trending towards a time where cars are going to be like a actual luxury, where most people are going to be ride sharing and whatnot. So if you have a car and you're still into cars, you're one of the few, especially if it's a nice car, like an enthusiast car. A lot of people get regular cars, but car enthusiasts are definitely a dying breed, and it's sad to see. Yeah, 37.5 is where I'd be at. We have our last example here. This one is a budget version of a 2018, which is very surprising, but as you can see, it's on aftermarket wheels. It has an aftermarket hood, but it is a 2018, so not too many pictures here. You can see it as RS2 package. I just wanted to include it because there are some cheap 2018s out there for sale. Not sure what's going on with this car. The pictures are blurry, and that, like, every time you see blurry pictures, it kind of is a red flag for me, because I really wouldn't want to, well, it looks like the ad was copied. That's what I'm trying to say. But this one also looks a little bit modified, so maybe that's why it's a little bit cheaper. No accidents, been for sale for 48 days, which is also weird being at this price, being 2018 and only having 62,000 miles. So you really want to check this car out in terms of its history and why it's that cheap. But 28 grand for a 2018 with low miles, yeah, that's might be too good to be true. I'd say for me though, I try to get it for 25. I just try. I don't know what they would say. I'm not sure why it's so cheap, but again, that's something you'd have to figure out because it is way too cheap. I just want to show you guys that there is an example that's way undervalued or under market at least. But again, this ad looks a little wishy-washy. But yeah, that is the Ford Focus RS. Let me bring this back up. Clean Whip said he's gonna get a Tesla next. I hope you're not. I hope you're joking. I would never get a Tesla unless you really just need to get around and you don't have gas stations or you don't feel like maintaining. I don't know. I would never get one. If I were to get an electric car, I'd probably get like an e-tron GT or something. That's what I get because I think they look cool. The only reason why I get an electric car is for the looks. I don't really care about the speed or anything like that. I like a visceral driving experience. In terms of, I get it, the speed might be considered visceral, but yeah, I would never get an electric car. Yep, as you can see, Model Y. You're getting the most like generic vehicle that you could ever get, bro. If you're gonna spend Model Y money, get something cool. What are you doing? Anyway, to go over, what is there really to go over? Yeah, I guess what you should look out for these cars is the RS2 package. Make sure if you're getting one that's modded, it's been modded by someone who actually knows what they're doing. And if the mods are really extensive, make sure there is receipts for it, or at least a build list or pictures of stuff getting installed. We saw that one ad where they did actually show the pistons and the internals of the engine that they were building, so that's a good sign. I'd try to stay away from cars that have an upgraded turbo because that's really hard on the bottom end of the stock bottom end, at least. So I'd also stay away from cars that just look like they're beat. Obviously, you know, that's normal. You don't want to get a beat car, but these cars have the potential to be really beat. So keep that in mind. They don't wear the best. They are, especially on the interior. So look for that as well. Look for the bolsters. These seats have huge bolsters, so you can check out the bolsters. You really don't want a car with worn anything, excuse me. A shout out to DBLA. He said, keep up the videos, bro. Just came across your content 2 days ago. I appreciate it, my friend. Yeah, I'm gonna do more videos. At one point I was doing them every day for like almost a year. So I have a lot of videos on here, but we're going to continue pumping out content. Shout out to everyone who made it through the entire video, hour and 25, not too bad. Shout out to you guys. But yeah, in terms of problems, want to make sure that the head gasket recall has been done. And then you have little problems here and there. Steering wheel material peels off, exhaust flaps get stuck, steering angle sensor. You just want to check for leaks in general, make sure the PTU and the RDU aren't leaking, as well as regular leak areas as well, head gasket, oil pan, all the normal stuff. Spark plugs change every 10 to 15,000 miles, so keep that in mind as well. And then try to get one that hasn't been dogged out. That's pretty much it. If you guys don't have anything else, I'm going to head out. It's getting a little bit late. As you can see, it got a little bit darker in here. But yeah, more videos to come. Next, we're going to be doing the BMW M2, the F-Series one. So stay tuned for that one. I'll see you guys again with the next video. I'm not sure when I'm going to do it. Probably later in the week. I do work, so we're going to plan for Thursday. And as always, peace Have a good one, and I'll see you guys